Hi, welcome to another MYD Global YouTube channel episode. And today we're going to talk about a really interesting solution to storm surge, to communities that are finding that their ocean levels are rising. They've got coastlines that they want to protect. So in this episode, I have a very special guest, Dr. Shimrit Perko-Finkel, and she is the CEO and founder of ECOncrete out of Israel. And so welcome today, Shimrit, and maybe you can just introduce yourself a bit, tell everyone about yourself.
Sure. So hi, great to be here. Thank you for hosting me. Well, you already mentioned that I'm the CEO of ECOncrete. I'm one of the two co-founders. I founded the company with my associate, Dr. Ido Sela, who used to be my student many years ago. And I live in Tel Aviv. I have a family of 3 girls. And what I spend most of my time doing, and at least the last 10 years, is trying to find solutions for a better coastline, for helping sustain some of the marine life that we have in our coastlines. I'm a marine biologist. I did my first, second, and third degrees in Tel Aviv University. I did some postdoc in Italy, in the University of Bologna. Diving since I was a teen, basically. I think by now I've been to over 30 countries, so a lot of experience in different ecosystems, and that's really what's driving me to help coastal communities, both above and below the water.
So how long have you had your company, this particular one?
Yes, so ECOncrete was established in 2012. We actually started with some of the R&D in 2011, but since 2012, this is basically my life. And we started off, just the 2 founders, 1 or 2 employees, and now we're like 20 people with representatives in different countries, headquarters in Israel, but we have people in New York, in Florida, in California, in Holland, in Barcelona, in the UK. So really trying to get a global gas.
Yeah, and so one of the words that I saw on, I think it was on your website or maybe in us talking, you talk about ecological engineering. So can you talk a little bit about the specific technology that you're trying to implement?
Sure. So ecological engineering is basically a tool to include ecological considerations into the design of different things. In our case, we're using science-based considerations and environmentally sensitive components, so let's say the needs of the ecosystem itself and its residents, to design better structures in the marine environment. ECOncrete is basically a concrete material that enhances the growth of marine life, plants and animals in a much more efficient way than regular concrete that is being used very, very frequently for coastal construction. So we change very slightly the composition of the concrete. We also change the surface roughness, the texture of the elements, and the 3-dimensional design. And really these 3 components bring the concrete to life, as we say. So they enable oysters and corals and fish and crabs to really grow comfortably and successfully on the concrete, whereas a regular concrete wall, not like the one you have at the back of your image, but not very different, doesn't support really the hiding places or the chemical properties that allow for a rich life to thrive. So this is what we're changing, and this is through the chemistry and the design.
So just explain it to me very, very simply. So you would have, say, an ECOncrete block. You would put it into the ocean. It would stay there for a certain period of time. And when you come back to look at it, you will see it thriving as an ecosystem. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. So let's say you are building a new marina or a new waterfront with a seawall. You will build it with typically concrete, a blank facade. So really smooth elements, repetitive units, very boring from a biological perspective, because you don't design for life, you design for practicality. And when we do our installations, we really provide like a 1-for-1 replacement. So it will be a seawall, it will be armor unit, it's the actual infrastructure. But because of the features that we are adding that are complex, that are designed like, let's say, the shell of an oyster from a roughness perspective, or the element, instead of being blank, it will have holes for the species that we want to accommodate. Then when you put it in the water and you build with it, you actually get it colonized very efficiently within a relatively small period of time. So we've been following up on some of our installations. As soon as 3 months post-deployment, you will visually see a difference from, a control gray flat structure. And we typically do that. We do the cross comparison. And after 2 years, we typically double the biodiversity, which is a very simple measure to see how many species and what is their distribution. So we increase the biodiversity, we increase the number of species, we increase the cover of the life of the marine life on the element, and also we are efficiently reducing the dominance of invasive species, which is typically what dominates the regular structures, species that you don't really want, like the weedy species.
Yeah. So what are the types of products and services that you're actually offering? Is it one type of block? Is it different kinds of solutions? What are you currently providing to different communities?
So it's really a technology platform. Anything that's made of concrete, in the water, touching the water, we can basically make it bio-enhanced with our technology. We do have a suite of current products and designs, about 6 or 7. So we have armor units, seawalls, marine mattresses. We do jackets for piers, like pile encapsulation for pier piles, tide pools. That's kind of the image you see at the back here, which is a very unique product. It's another armor unit, but it's also a full-on habitat. We do anchoring systems, and in the future, we plan also to do scar protection for offshore oil, or even the offshore wind industry. So really, whatever they're building, we can accommodate.
Yeah. So when you're looking to sell your products and your services to someone, how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors?
So really, at the moment,
do you have one?
Yeah. So it's not really the competition is not a direct competition. On one hand, we have the engineered structures. So basically, the concrete they're using today is our competition, because that's what's available and that's what's cheap and people are accustomed to. It's a very traditional industry, and it's very difficult to do a mind shift in this industry. So that's kind of one end. On the other hand, you'll find artificial reefs. So there have been some attempts to do designs of concrete domes and all different triangles, pyramids for fish enhancement, for coral enhancement. And some of them are made with a very special concrete that has, for example, some shell component into it to make it more attractive for marine life. But then these guys are typically losing the strength. So they're not strong enough to be able to have a pier or a breakwater built from these. And we are the only ones who took one-in-one and combined it to a single solution that is strong, beautiful, and bio-friendly, as we say. So that's our competitive advantage. Everything we build complies with very strict coastal and marine grade requirements. We can build stuff for 30, 50, and even over 100 years. So it's construction grade.
Do you actually manufacture on site, or do you manufacture? Where do you do your manufacturing? And then is it Israel, and then you ship it to your customer, or how does that work?
We really try to be sustainable also on that. At the moment, we are mixing our secret sauce is about 10% of the cement. So if you imagine one of these concrete mixers that you see on the street, we'll only need like 20 little sacks of salt and pepper to put inside of those. At the moment, that component is still mixed in Israel and shipped in containers. But let's say one container can do a lot of structures. On the other hand, we're preparing the molds. So like when you bake a cake, you need a mold for the cake, you need a mold for the concrete elements. And we have special designs and we have special technologies to make these molds work. And at the moment, the molds come from Israel. When the company will grow and scale, we expect to have mixing facilities in different locations. So let's say North America will have a mixing facility, and Europe or whatever. And we also want to just give blueprints, and the molds can be produced anywhere. So it's really a platform for technology.
So who would you say your ideal customer would be? when you're looking?
Because we didn't discuss it much, but when we are developing our coastlines, we have different stakeholders. When we're building a wave breaker, it's typical a state or even a federal project. When we're building a port, it can be a port authority. When we're building a seawall in the city, it's city or parks. When it's a private real estate, like in Florida or California, somebody has a seawall of really its own property. So our clients are very diverse. At the moment, we've been concentrating mainly actually on the government and city and state levels and the ports, mainly because they have to invest in environment as well, and they do care a lot about sustainability. Not that I'm saying that private people don't, but let's say on priority and even, you know, agenda, like a 5-year plan, we're seeing more and more, fortunately, more and more port authorities put sustainability and environment and, of course, climate high on the agenda. So these are kind of our preferred customers at the moment.
So where do you currently have installations? What parts of the world?
So we started with initial installations in Israel, which is where I'm from. Yeah. Red Sea and Mediterranean. We're lucky to have both oceans, temperate and tropical. And then we really started in the US. We have installations in New York, which was kind of our initial hub, in Brooklyn, in New Jersey. We have stuff in Florida. Just now this week, we're going to have our first installation in California. And then in Europe, we have installations in Holland, in the port of Rotterdam, which was a great partner. We have in Monaco with the Monogese government. These are all quite small, but still significant from us. In France, in the UK, we have a collaboration with the Hong Kong government and university. So we have a couple of sites in Hong Kong. And I think that's about it until now. Hoping to increase activity.
That's amazing, though. I mean, when you think about I mean, your company is relatively young. I know that this is not new to you. You've been doing this for years, but to actually put the plan in place, the company in place, the solution, and get it out there and market. I mean, that's incredible. And to take such like what we would term as gray infrastructure and to make it a blue-green infrastructure. I mean, when you talk about maintaining the beauty and the life of marine life, and I think, I mean, as a scuba diver myself, I love this solution, and that's why I wanted to profile some of the work you're doing. Is there anything else you'd like to? I know I'm going to include your website so people can get in touch with you if they want to know more. I know you've got some other videos that I'll try and link as well. You had a promotional video that I saw that was really fun. But is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, sure. We have a lot of resources on our website. We have a blog, and we're putting out newsletters because awareness is really important for us. I think one of the items that I feel is worth discussing is the fact that we are working on the interface between the city and people and the oceans. And we really want to make connectivity. And I think that the lack of awareness is, well, that drives me nuts because people live literally on the ocean and they see this thing and they don't really think about the life that's in there. And that's one of the things that we're trying to make more accessible with some of the products like this tide pool, that you could actually walk on the beach and then see those sea stars and sea anemones on your structure. So awareness is one thing. And I think also the issue of mitigation and adaptation to climate change. We felt a little bit like storm chasers. So after every major storm, there's been like a gush of interest in the technology. And I think it's because we're bringing a real solution. So the fact that the life is growing on the concrete is not just good for ecology, it also makes the concrete stronger and more adaptive. So think about it. If you had a natural reef or an oyster reef, it would grow with sea level rise. It would become stronger. And that doesn't happen with regular concrete structures. But with ECOncrete, you actually get that back, that function of adaptation to sea level rise. And also think about a regular structure that suffers from constant erosion from the elements. With life on it, it actually has a layer of protection. And these are things, again, that people don't know, and we're trying to raise awareness and to have people think about the value of really harnessing natural processes, not just for the better of environment, but also for the better of the structure and overall much much healthier solution.
I love it. I'm wishing you all the best as you move this solution out. I know that some of the communities that I've been working with really are island communities. They're located on coastlines. And you really do have, I mean, as a municipality, you got to decide, do we continue to keep people there and look for solutions like yours to help mitigate any potential impacts, or do we actually relocate people? So these are tough decisions. Now, the latter decision is not a politically easy one to make. So I think there's going to be a lot of communities that are looking for solutions like yours that are not just putting up a big, ugly interface, but something that's natural, that enhances the beauty and the life that's there. And so I really think, I mean, I personally love your solution, and I do wish you all the best as you continue to move this to different communities, and hopefully people watching this will get in touch with you and learn more. And I would love to start traveling and see these wherever I go as solutions. So thank you, Shimrit, for being here today and helping kind of animate your solution so people understand what you do and what fuels you to make a difference in the world. And if you're interested in hearing more about anything disaster related, please subscribe to our channel, and we'll continue to have people like Shimrit on the program, and hopefully we'll touch base in the future, and we can hear more about some of the stuff you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.